Respect. At some point in life, we've all desired to earn it. But what truly defines a respected individual? Many believe respect comes through material achievements such as status, power, or wealth. However, the reality is far more complex and profound. Genuine respect cannot be bought or forced. It arises naturally when we live authentically, connected to our principles and acting according to our values. In today's world, where the rush and constant pursuit of external validation dominate, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. People are constantly bombarded with unrealistic standards of success, feeding the idea that to be respected, one must have more money, more followers, more possessions. But is genuine respect really tied to what we possess? Buddhism, one of the world's oldest and most profound spiritual traditions, offers a completely different perspective. Its ancient teachings invite us to look inward, to cultivate inner qualities that truly attract genuine respect. This path goes against the grain of modern expectations, suggesting that instead of tirelessly seeking others' approval, we should focus on cultivating a peaceful, compassionate, and wise mind. And it's this very process of inner transformation that inevitably draws admiration from others. Think for a moment. When was the last time you respected someone not for what they owned, but for the way they behaved, the peace they radiated, or the compassion they showed? These qualities aren't superficial but deeply rooted in one's being. They result from practices that, while simple, require dedication and mindfulness. Buddhism teaches that respect should not be the final goal. Instead, the focus should be on becoming the best version of ourselves, acting consistently with our inner truth. And, ironically, it's exactly when we stop chasing respect directly that it begins to appear naturally in our lives. Today, we will explore 11 Buddhist teachings that offer a practical guide for those who wish not only to transform themselves, but also to gain the genuine respect of those around them. These lessons are not exclusive to Buddhist practitioners. They are universal and can be applied by anyone seeking a more harmonious, fulfilling, and meaningful life. So here's a question for you to reflect on. If the respect you seek cannot be gained by what you possess, what could you start doing internally today to become a truly respected person? Now that you've reflected on what truly defines respect and how it goes beyond external appearances, imagine how your life would change if you could apply these profound Buddhist lessons daily. What kind of transformation would you experience? How would this change the way you relate to others and even to yourself? Stay with me because in the next few minutes, we'll explore simple yet incredibly powerful practices that can completely change how you view the world. And trust me, some of these lessons may surprise you. The first lesson, and perhaps the most fundamental, is the practice of mindfulness. What does it mean to be truly present in each moment? It sounds simple, but in the modern world, our minds are often stuck in the past or anxious about the future, rarely stopping to appreciate what's happening now. In Buddhism, mindfulness is the key to inner transformation. It allows us to be fully aware of our thoughts, feelings, and the environment around us without being swept away by them. Imagine, for example, that you're having a heated argument. Without mindfulness, your mind might be overtaken by anger and frustration, leading you to say things you don't mean. With mindfulness, you acknowledge these emotions but don't let them control you. This allows you to choose your actions wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Buddha emphasized the importance of mindfulness in his teachings on the path to enlightenment. He explained that without it, we are constantly at the mercy of our emotions and impulses. A practical example of this can be seen in the everyday life of anyone. When we fully immerse ourselves in a simple task such as eating or walking, and concentrate on every detail, our minds calm down. The constant noise of thoughts quiets, and we find a clarity that often eludes us. Mindfulness is also deeply connected to the practice of meditation. When you sit in silence and observe your breath, you begin to notice the transient nature of thoughts. They arise, linger for a moment, and then disappear. Realizing this helps us understand that, like thoughts, emotions and difficulties are also temporary. By cultivating this awareness, you gain control over your reactions and begin to act with more compassion and patience. The second lesson is about compassion, which, in Buddhism, is seen as a fundamental quality for living a fulfilling and meaningful life. But compassion isn't simply sympathy or pity. It's a deep desire to alleviate the suffering of others, combined with a willingness to actively do something about it. Compassion, karuna, is what connects us to each other on a fundamental human level. In Buddhism, it is believed that the practice of compassion can lead to enlightenment, as by deeply caring for others, we distance ourselves from the egoism that causes so much suffering. A classic example is the story of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of compassion, who vowed never to rest until all beings were freed from suffering. In everyday life, compassion can be expressed in simple yet powerful ways. Listening to someone with genuine attention, offering support to a friend in need, or even helping a stranger without expecting anything in return. However, it's important to remember that compassion isn't just for others. We must also practice self-compassion, recognizing our own challenges and treating ourselves with the same kindness we offer to others. Compassion transforms relationships. When someone feels that you genuinely care, a deeper bond is created. Respect doesn't need to be demanded. It naturally blossoms in an environment where care and empathy are nurtured. The concept of impermanence, anicca, is one of the core pillars of Buddhism. Nothing remains the same forever. Our bodies age, seasons change, emotions shift, and even mountains over time wear away. Acknowledging this truth is liberating, yet also challenging. According to Buddha, suffering arises from attachment. We cling to people, objects, and situations, believing that they will bring us lasting happiness. However, when they inevitably change or disappear, we feel pain. The lesson of impermanence teaches us to accept these changes with more serenity. There is a story that illustrates this teaching well. A disciple, observing the cherry blossoms fall, expressed sadness at seeing their beauty fade. The master responded, "It is precisely because of their impermanence that the flowers are beautiful. If they lasted forever, we wouldn't appreciate them the same way." Embracing impermanence doesn't mean being indifferent to life, but rather valuing each moment while it lasts, without trying to hold on to or control it. When we accept the transience of things, we become more flexible and resilient, and this adaptability is admired by others. People respect those who face life's changes with grace and wisdom. Related to impermanence is the practice of non-attachment, upekkha, which frees us from the suffering caused by our desires and attachments. However, non-attachment is often misunderstood. Many people believe that letting go means renouncing everything, living a life of austerity and devoid of pleasure. But in Buddhism, non-attachment is not about abandoning the world, but rather not being controlled by it. Non-attachment teaches us to live with inner freedom, without being enslaved by external circumstances. Think about how much we suffer because we're attached to things we can't control. Other people's opinions, professional success, or even our material possessions. When we rely on these things for our happiness, we become vulnerable. A common Buddhist metaphor is that of the boat. Imagine you're crossing a river in a boat. Once you reach the other side, you need to leave the boat behind to continue your journey. However, many people metaphorically keep carrying the boat, even when it's no longer needed. Non-attachment is the ability to leave the boat behind when it has fulfilled its purpose. In everyday life, practicing non-attachment can be as simple as learning to accept failure without being disheartened or loving someone without trying to control them. Those who practice non-attachment radiate a lightness and peace that are immediately perceived and respected by others. Words are one of the most powerful tools we have. They can heal, inspire, but they can also wound deeply. In Buddhism, right speech, samyak vak, is a crucial part of the Noble Eightfold Path. It reminds us to use our words responsibly, always seeking truth and kindness. Buddha taught that before speaking we should ask ourselves, is this true? Is this necessary? Will this be helpful? If the answer is no to any of these questions, it may be better to remain silent. The practice of mindful silence is also part of right speech. Sometimes saying nothing is the wisest and most respectful choice. A classic example of right speech in Buddhism is the story of Buddha and the angry man. A man came to Buddha, insulting him and trying to provoke a reaction. Buddha, instead of responding, remained silent and asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man answered that the gift still belonged to the giver. Buddha then said, "Likewise, I refuse your insults, they belong to you." This story shows how wise use of words, or even the absence of them, can transform a conflict. When we learn to speak carefully and consciously, we are seen as balanced and trustworthy individuals. And this trust is one of the greatest forms of respect we can earn. Patience, khanti, is an underrated but absolutely essential virtue, both in Buddhism and in everyday life. However, being patient doesn't just mean waiting calmly for something. It's about maintaining calm and composure in the face of adversity, frustration, and challenging situations. In Buddhism, patience is seen as one of the qualities necessary to attain enlightenment. Buddha, in his various lives as a bodhisattva, endured many trials with unwavering patience. One famous story is about one of his previous incarnations as a prince, who, instead of reacting with anger to humiliation and abuse, patiently accepted the suffering, knowing that hatred could not be overcome by more hatred. In modern life, the practice of patience can be as simple as taking a deep breath before responding to a provocation, or accepting that not everything happens on our timetable. Imagine how many conflicts could be avoided if we practiced patience instead of impulsivity. People who demonstrate patience in the face of challenges are admired for their calmness and inner strength. Gratitude is a powerful practice in Buddhism and one of the keys to contentment. However, being grateful is not just about saying, "thank you" mechanically. True gratitude involves recognizing and appreciating the blessings that already exist in our lives, even in the simplest things. In Buddhism, gratitude is rooted in the understanding that nothing in life is guaranteed. Everything is transient, and the fact that we have food, shelter, or relationships is a reason for deep gratitude. When we cultivate the practice of gratitude, our worldview changes. We begin to see the abundance around us instead of focusing on what we lack. A practical way to incorporate gratitude into life is by keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for. This may seem like a simple exercise, but over time, it radically shifts your perspective on life. People who live with gratitude radiate a sense of contentment and balance, and this state of being is naturally admired by others. Self-reflection, vipassana, is a vital practice in Buddhism. It is the process of looking deeply within oneself, examining our thoughts, actions, and motivations. However, self-reflection should not be confused with self-judgment. It is a practice of impartial observation, where we seek to understand, not condemn, our own behaviors. Buddha often emphasized the importance of knowing oneself before attempting to change the world. He said, "Better than conquering 1,000 battles against 1,000 enemies is conquering oneself." Self-reflection allows us this conquest. By questioning our actions, we can align our lives with our deepest values. In practice, self-reflection can be done through meditation or a simple moment of silence at the end of the day, where we review our attitudes and thoughts. Ask yourself, did I act according to my values today? What can I improve? Those who show dedication to self-awareness and personal growth inevitably gain the respect of those around them, as they demonstrate a commitment to continuous development. Humility, nimantranata, is a fundamental quality in Buddhism. Being humble doesn't mean belittling oneself, but rather recognizing your limitations and valuing the contributions of others. Humility allows us to be lifelong learners, open to knowledge and growth. There is a Buddhist story that exemplifies this virtue. A young monk, proud of his knowledge, went to a master to show off his understanding. The master, instead of debating, filled a cup of tea until it overflowed. The young monk, confused, asked, "Why are you pouring so much tea?" The master replied, "Your mind is like this cup, so full of your own ideas that there's no room for anything else. Empty your cup so that you can learn." True humility inspires others, as it shows a willingness to listen, learn, and grow. Humble people are seen as secure and reliable, and this trust generates deep respect. In Buddhism, right livelihood, samyaka jiva, is a principle that reminds us of the importance of aligning our means of living with our ethical values. This means choosing a profession that does not harm other living beings and contributes positively to society. Buddha always emphasized that the path to a fulfilled life involves making conscious decisions about how we earn a living. If we engage in a career that harms others, it will be difficult to find inner peace and true respect. On the other hand, When we choose work that reflects our principles, we inspire those around us to also live ethically. Practicing right livelihood doesn't mean we all have to abandon our jobs and become monks. On the contrary, we can apply this principle in any profession by ensuring that our daily actions are beneficial and aligned with our deepest values. People who live this way are often admired for their integrity, and this admiration naturally leads to respect. Finally, forgiveness is one of the most transformative lessons in Buddhism. Buddha taught that holding on to resentment is like holding a hot coal, expecting the other person to get burned. In reality, the one who suffers is us. Forgiveness is about releasing that hot coal, allowing inner peace to flourish. However, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or justifying the wrongs done to us. Instead, it's about letting go of the emotional weight that keeps us tied to the past. Forgiveness must also be extended to ourselves. Often, we are our harshest critics, carrying guilt and regret for years. Learning to forgive ourselves is essential for healing and personal growth. By practicing forgiveness, we free ourselves and create space for compassion, both for ourselves and for others. This ability to forgive, especially in a world where grudges are common, is a deeply admired and respected quality. Incorporating these Buddhist lessons into your life will not only transform you, but also naturally attract the respect and admiration of those around you. Mindfulness, compassion, non-attachment, and patience are qualities that transcend time and circumstances. Living according to these principles leads to a life of purpose, meaning, and harmony. After all, true respect is not something we actively seek. It is the reflection of the person we become along our spiritual and personal journey. If these Buddhist lessons have brought new insights into your life and you believe they can help others follow a more peaceful and harmonious path, don't forget to leave a like on this video. This helps spread the message to more people who are also seeking transformation and genuine respect in their lives. And, of course, if you want to keep learning more about how to live with greater wisdom, compassion, and balance, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any new content. See you in the next video.